Start recording. Hi everyone, this is the All for One team, and today in this start of this 2020 we thought we'd just talk a little bit about social media, so feel free to chime in whenever you want. All I'm going to do is just read out some reports, a part of a report from Salesforce, and it's the 50 social media best practices. So I'm not going to read out all 50 here, but what we thought is we'd just read some of them out and maybe just discuss them about how they might affect your business or a client that you're working with, and you know what your thoughts are on that. Because as this report says, that social media accounts for over 30% of all time spent online. And social networks have changed the game forever for marketers, and the changes aren't slowing down anytime soon. And keeping up with the latest social channels and their functionalities can seem like a full-time job, which I'm sure you're all aware of. And if you're like most marketers, now all of us are marketers usually in our own business, you're probably juggling other responsibilities. And so I will start reading a few of these. So this is probably for a bigger style business, but number one was to research where people are talking about you. And so this, if people are talking about your brand, that's a good thing. But even, you know, like if you're a restaurant or something like that, to be actually reading your reviews on, you know, Yelp, or if you're in accommodation on TripAdvisor or Booking.com or whatever, actually read what people are saying about you and have the chance to respond. And the same goes on Google reviews. You know, you should be asking people for Google reviews, but if people have actually gone and left one without you knowing about it, make sure that you actually get on there and respond, because it's really important that people, especially if they've left you a 5-star, for sure, you know, make sure that you get there and respond and thank them for their review. Because the engagement really, really helps with your reach on anything, on any platform. If you respond, you know, if you get lots of comments on an Instagram post, you should be responding to every single person that made a comment, even just to thank them. So, yeah, always research where people are talking about you. I think that's a good tip, especially for some of these other, you know, a bigger style business where there's possibly a lot of consumer activity going on. The second one is that you want to identify the industry influences. So when you first start listening, you may feel that no one's talking about your brand and there's not much to listen for. This can ring especially true for B2B brands, which a lot of us are. That means that it's time to identify the primary influencers in your space. You can bet that trusted influencers are out there creating great content for just about every topic under the sun. So find the influencers first and see what they're talking about. So in our B2B space, this could be people that are blogging about different things, people that are doing interviews and podcasters, people that have a big reach on, let's say, LinkedIn or something like that. And you might like to reach out to them and just say, hey, what kind of, you know, could we do a joint video or something like that? And create a bit of a marketing partnership out of it. So, you know, just even if you're just, you know, you're an accountant or you're a sign writer, Luke, you know, there could be someone that could actually help you be a bit of an influencer in your industry. You just don't know if you think outside the square.
Yep. Yeah, and there's some good points there. I think within our industry, you know, there's definitely pros and cons of, you know, connecting with different influencers. Some sort of have their own agenda to, you know, add sort of backlinks and rankings to their sites.
Yeah.
You have to be, you know, careful to pick and choose. One thing I have found too is once you start to establish those regular Google reviews, I know Google now on your business page has a link, so you can actually just click on it and copy a link and, you know, put that in your email or send that out to clients to, quickly and easily give you a review.
Yeah.
So that's very important. But also once you establish relationships with clients as well, also writing. So we write blogs, and they might be just case studies on their particular project or what we've done with the client. And then we ask them, would you mind putting this on your website? And that really adds, that's probably the strongest, SEO thing that you can do for your site. Now, it's a little bit harder. Not all of our clients are receptive to it. Some are. Some are like, yep, no problem. Because we take the professional photos. If there's any video, we take care of all of that. And then we can tailor that sort of case study or article, to suit them, but also serve us. And once it goes on there, it's a really strong, link to our site as well. So that's another, tip to look at.
Yeah. So like, for instance, I do work for a builder, and, he's associating himself with some really cool brands, for kitchens and things like that. And so, we've gone out and made videos at these places to talk about their products and how amazing they are, but they've got a very good reputation as a public brand, so, people will go, oh, hey, he's associated with such and such. Oh, that's really cool. I know I'm going to get a quality product through him, So even just reaching out to these people that you say, I want to stock your stuff, or have you as one of my suppliers or one of my marketing partners or whatever it is, then it's better for everyone, I think. So, yeah,
definitely.
The next one was to listen for social selling opportunities. So it says social selling doesn't always mean conversion directly as a result of social. Usually it's about social media managers getting the assistance from their sales team. For example, someone might tweet that she's thinking about buying a new BMW, and the local BMW dealership chimes in with a useful video. So look for these kinds of opportunities, and also times when someone may not be so happy with your number one competitor as well. So social selling opportunities are everywhere once you start looking. But, that's a pretty heavy sales tactic, I would say, by jumping in on someone's post and putting a video. But I have seen it done. Like I was down the Mornington Peninsula one day on a car cruise and was tagging a few things in Sorrento, and a couple of Sorrento businesses jumped in on my post and just said, oh, it looks like you're having fun. They didn't say come down and buy our ice cream or anything like that, but it just made me aware of actually using the right hashtags. People are looking out for those hashtags, and they're looking for people that are in the area. So I think that's really clever for local business to be doing a hashtag watch on Instagram, for example, and because you can get hashtag alerts, and watching what people are posting about that so that they can respond to it. So I've done the same thing for a gluten-free bakery before. So he wanted to sell his products into, cafes and everything that are offering gluten-free buns and options like that in a cafe, like hamburger buns or something. And so we would watch anything that said, gluten-free or gluten-free eating, gluten-free Melbourne, things like that. For watching for these cafes that were posting about that, and then approaching them. Hey, have you got a good supplier for your gluten-free breads and things like that? So yeah, there's lots of things you can do to watch out for what's happening on social to bring things to the front of your mind, basically.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think being any business, just being active on social is probably the first step. Just consistently posting, and obviously posting relevant content that's got value. Because it can be a little bit hit and miss, especially for small businesses. Once you step up to medium, then you've got access to, you know, people that potentially handle, you know, the social media accounts. But yeah, I think posting relevant content and being, you know, sort of top of mind consistently is what will probably give the biggest sort of return on investment, rather than just sort of, you know, having a war chest of $25,000 and going, right, we're going to hit Facebook ads, Instagram, you know, we're going to sort of just throw a bit of money out there and see what happens. You know, you reverse engineer it, look for your ideal client, you know, focus on that, you know, core sector of the market that people are going to buy, because ultimately when you throw such a wide net or cast such a wide net in social media and you're not, you know, you're potentially going to get 3% of, you know, people that are wanting to buy at that time. And that's pretty small. But once you can start to funnel them through, you know, you might get sort of 20, 30% that, you know, you can start moving them up the chain, or moving them up the funnel.
Yeah.
And that sort of works as well, sort of building it that way. So, but just consistently posting, I mean, even if it's a few times a week, if you do it consistently, we find we have a good sort of hit rate in regards to that. We're always top of mind if a client, you know, is not happy with their current supplier, they know where to turn, you know, in that sort of sense.
But at the same time, it's also a very good place to do your spying and the back house work. So, like again with the baker, you know, we did a lot of posts for him for his retail side of his business, but that was nothing compared to the business that we were looking for these restaurants and cafes and stuff to be buying from him regularly. So a lot of the work I did was going and commenting on all of those people's posts, not necessarily posting for his business, but going and commenting and then direct messaging all these people as well. So it's kind of, again, a bit of a reverse engineering on the social media. You can do just as much work, if not more sometimes, relationship wise, by going in and being more of a silent partner at the back end there, and just commenting on people's things rather than blasting out about your own products all the time.
Yeah, because no one cares about your product. Essentially, it's what people say about it. So, and that, you know, let's be honest. The biggest, you know, the biggest sellers or advocates for our product or brand is the clients or the customers. So, and I know for myself and probably everyone out there, when you know have a good experience and buy a good product that just works and you're really happy with it, it's really easy to tell others about it. Yeah. You get a local tradie that does a great job on your fence. You go, hey, go and see this guy. And that's when you find those people that say, oh, look, I've never advertised. It's all word of mouth. Yeah, because that's a real thing. So people advocating and trumpeting your brand is probably the best form of advertising, and piggybacking off that as well, you know, via social media channels when people post and, you know, tag you in. Great way to leverage, you know, exposure to any market.
Number 4 on this list is to keep an eye out for non-direct brand mentions. It says people don't always mention you by your correct brand name. When talking about you, they may misspell your name wrong, use an abbreviation, or simply talk about your industry without specifically calling you out. So you just put together a list of words people may use to describe you, your industry, and your competitors, and track conversations around these keywords across the social web. So again, sort of more suited to maybe a bigger style business or a consumer style business. But again, this kind of thing could totally have worked with the baker as well. So we were just aware of, even just being aware of the hashtags that people were using, especially the foodies and the cafes and everything like that. So doing a really good keyword hashtag research and finding out what people are using, so that you can track the same things, basically. Number 5 here is connect social to the broader business. It says in Salesforce's 4th annual State of the Marketing Research report, we found that the highest performing marketers integrate social media activity into other business functions. For example, 88% of high performing marketers collaborate with their service department to respond to social inquiries and concerns versus just 37% of the underperformers. So social also helps your sales teams discover new leads and your community managers identify brand advocates. So what they're saying here is basically get your marketing team talking to your sales team, basically, if that's in existence, because often these departments work in silos and they don't talk to each other, and one doesn't know what the other one's doing. I went into a shop one day and, the people it was a tool shop or something like that. They're the people selling the stuff, but they have no idea about what offers marketing has put out and the codes and things like that. I'm like, this is a pretty small business. They're not even talking to each other in here. So, make sure that your departments are talking to each other for sure. What else have we got here? Trying to see if it's worth mentioning. Not really. It's a few other. Be customer focused, not channel focused. This is a bit of a no-brainer. All social media marketers know channels change over time, but the importance of knowing individual customers stays the same. As you listen for questions and comments, focus on individual customers and how you can provide a consistent experience across social, web, email, and more. Instead of filing their thoughts away under keyword lists, get to know people as customers, not handles, connecting the dots on their relationship and history with the company. So, these things take a little bit of work, but again, just, treating these customers like real customers, not as one of a million people or something like that. And that, it's great to have a lot of happy customers, but if you piss off one customer, you don't know their social reach, you don't know what kind of damage that could do for your brand.
Yeah, and that's a fine line for any business as well, because we know that we can't please everybody. So there's going to be instances, and I think it's actually good. It shows that we're kind of real. That if someone leaves a review that might be a little bit, well, they didn't get back to me, or I didn't understand this. Some people are just sort of geared that way, and you can see that too with people that are sort of serial offenders in regards to that. They've got nothing positive to say, but it's all negative. Yeah, and I think it adds a little bit of clout to any brand, and it's how you respond to it as well. So if you're defensive, which you, as you were saying, Jerry, could do a lot of research out there and see how there's a lot of defensive business owners when they get a 1-star review. They're on the front foot. Again, for us, it's about just taking on feedback. Hey, we dropped the ball. We are human. If there's anything we can do moving forward, please let us know. So you don't want to be defensive, but you want to respond, and that's a big part of any social media account, because then it shows that you actually care and that you're real.
Yeah. It says here also to automate when you can, but keep the human element. So, the social listening process may be overwhelming depending on the size of your company. Social listening tools help by automatically tagging keywords and assigning mentions to employees. These automation steps improve efficiency and allow you to spend more time engaging with people, but you can't leave it all to the computers. Figure out what automation techniques work for you and allocate human resources where it makes the most sense. You'll be more productive and your employees will be happier doing work that can't be done by a robot.
Yeah, the old sales call. How's things? Just checking in. You get the good salespeople that still hit the pavement. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of good platforms out there. MailChimp's one. You can start off small, build your list. Just keep customers and clients informed. Doesn't matter what sort of journey the the sales funnel they're at.
Yeah.
That's really important, and they make it even easier these days. There's even companies that'll do it for you at a reasonable cost.
Yeah.
Buffer's a good one. 5 to 6 different social media platforms. You can do one post, spit it out to all, sort of one click. And then you've got the opportunity to, test and measure all the different analytics and, open and close rates and all the rest of it. And, sort of dig down as little as you like or as much as you like.
Yeah. It says here to empower employees to be social brand advocates, if you can, obviously. Another thing here is to humanize the brand. So, this just makes sense. Of course, it says whether you're marketing highly technical B2B software or a hair product, you're still marketing to a person, and people want to talk to other people, not faceless corporations. So here's a few ways to ensure your social presence is staying both professional and human. So admit when you're wrong and apologize when needed. So the perfect example of that is if you get a bad Google review, acknowledging that and say, thank you so much for your feedback. We really appreciate it. We'd love to know what has gone wrong here in this situation or something like that. Let me contact you offline and we'll talk about this further. Just owning it that something went wrong and that you're going, but say that you're taking it offline. So you're not having that conversation on a Google review or something like that.
It's very important.
Yeah, one of the things here it says is that you can share a behind the scenes look at work and life at your company. And I love that, especially using video for that format. People love to see behind the scenes and what goes on. I'd even love to see, I don't know if real estate agents are doing it, but seeing a real estate agent showing, this is what goes on behind the scenes of a photo shoot and all the things that we do to tidy up a house or make it look nice, or even food photography is another funny one, that all the things that they do in food photography, that it's not real food. Like a roast chicken is actually just sprayed a brown color and it's actually a raw chicken. It's in the shot because it gets too shrunken if it looks cooked. So there's all these little tricks. Maple syrup is not maple syrup in photos, and the things that they do to make a hamburger from McDonald's look good, all those. Obviously you don't want to do that if you're McDonald's, but there's lots of things that you could do to show you behind the scenes kind of stuff. I often try and do that with the videoing and everything like that. It's it can end up being like a really looking polished product, but behind the scenes it's it can just be a green curtain up and you can be in an absolute shithole of a room or something like that, and it doesn't matter where you film it. The magic comes in the editing and everything like that. So it also says to show the names or faces of those who manage your social as well, so people can understand who are the people behind your social media. Go on a jargon diet and use real people language. That's a good one because there's way too much jargon out there sometimes. And have a sense of humour as well. But being aware that not all humour translates across geographic locations or from computer to person. Very important when you're sending emails and things like that people don't read the emotion that you've felt in your email. So they might be reading it in a humorous tone, or you were writing it in a humorous tone and they're in a somber mood, so they're reading it that way. So don't always think that people are reading something in the same way. And in fact, I think I heard recently, this is why they invented whatever, came up with emojis, because people couldn't read the emotions in an email very well. So that's where they came up with emojis, and people started using that to help convey the emotions of what they were saying. So it's really important sometimes that you actually are using the right emojis. Emojis can really, really help your social media. There's been lots of studies on split testing between using emojis and not using emojis. And there's always massive results with using them, but not overusing them too. So even one lady got on her blog after the fires, and she was apologizing that all the automated marketing that had come out about her course over the time during the fires, you know, it had been set in place months ago, but there was things like fire emojis and things like that, like, hey, your business is going to be on fire and stuff like that. And she was just so embarrassed because this came out during the bushfire time and it hadn't been, you know, checked off that this was what was going out. And so it's always, I think, really important to check what's going on in your social in your world around you at the time. And I think a lot of people have really during all the bushfires and everything slowed down on their marketing because they just feel it's not the right time or place, you know. It's not what's being talked about, it's not what's being focused on. So don't be salesy during a time like that, basically. So
yeah, and everyone's salesy. We could smell a robot or some sort of automation, and that'll turn people off quicker than anything. So, yeah, and I think, as you said, the key points are being authentic, being real, and yeah, have a bit of fun. Comedy's a great way to the heart. So that's probably where the videos come in. Yeah, they're a really good sort of translator of blooper reels and things like that don't, always, some things don't always go to plan. And I think it's important that people, can relate to that in your business too, instead of just being sort of flashy and high end and, everything goes perfect all of the time, which is not the case. So yeah, being authentic and real.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it really just helps you tell your story. And I'm constantly telling everyone that I meet, and they're like, oh, I can't be on video. I'm like, yeah, you can. And then you film them and they go, oh yeah, I'm not so bad. But it also makes them realize what they are doing, how they're showing up. So, if you film someone doing their 60-second pitch or something like that, at a networking event, all of a sudden they realize, oh, geez, it's all about me. I'm not talking about the solution. I'm not talking about what you're going to get out of it. I'm umming and ahhing way too much. You become more aware of how you're turning up, representing your business. So it can be quite confronting, but it can also certainly help you with your self-improvement. So the last point I'll just make here today is point here to aim for transparency. Of course, openness goes a long way in social media. A transparent communication model helps your community feel involved in your company and appreciate the trust you show them. You can increase transparency by turning your CEO or other execs loose on Twitter, for example, actively soliciting feedback and letting your customers meet and chat with your employees online. So I think transparency is really important, and also just putting a face to people, and people know who's in charge of what. And I think it's great when CEOs and everything like that are on Twitter, because if you need to get their attention, you can. They're just there's not so many gatekeepers. I mean, I know that they still are having people manage it themselves, but if you need to get someone's attention on social media these days, it's pretty easy to do that. So especially if you've got, you're trying to get the attention of some celebrities to get on board for a cause or something like that. I know they get hounded with these stuff all the time, but it's so much easier to do that these days than writing to their agent or something like that, like you used to have to in the good old days. So yeah, I think that's probably enough for today. We've covered off a few good things here. So if anyone has got any feedback or would like this report please let us know. I can send it to you. There are 50 points of social media best practices. It is from Salesforce, so you can just go and download that yourself somewhere if you want to. So if there's any comments, always just please share, and we look forward to seeing more people on our All for One calls in the future. Thanks everyone. Over and out.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.